Yeah, buddy. The review is here. I am Efron and welcome back to the channel, guys. And today we'll be doing a movie review on, I don't want to butcher this, extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile. This is a Netflix original. It's currently on Netflix. It came out a couple of days ago. And I have to say, starting off with my unpopular opinions about this film, I was disappointed. You know, I had previously watched this year Conversations with a Killer, the Ted Bundy tapes, which is a TV series which was also directed by Joe Berlinger, who's the same director for this film as well. And I have to say, this film there are great moments. I think Zac Efron does good with what he's given, and I think Lily Collins puts on a great. She's probably the highlight of this whole film, to be honest, with her performance. And so yeah, there's moments of brilliance with the acting, and there is also moments of brilliance with the directing. But the way that this story is written, for me, it just falls apart completely. And I think one of the biggest problems with this film is that it has third-person fatigue. Now, third-person fatigue is really the death of all films, in my opinion. I think it's somewhat of a cop-out, and I think it's just an exposition point to get your film from one point to the other very quickly. And a lot of filmmakers do this to cut the time and to stick to the schedule of a 2-hour film. And then what you're then doing is that you're then harming all the characters that actually matter, which are let's say the main character that we're following, and then another character. So meaning, if you were looking in a hypothetical sense, you would be looking at the protagonist and the antagonist. And when you have too much of third person viewpoint, it just all comes crumbling down. And the biggest problem is that, having watched the Ted Bundy tapes, I just feel as if this film should have never been created. In my own opinion, it should have never happened, because I feel as if this film completely undoes all the hard work Joe Berlinger done in the TV series. And I really highly recommend that you go and you watch the Conversations with the Ted Bundy tapes, because it's a great mini series and I think it deserves to be watched. And this isn't about the Ted Bundy tapes, but I have to make small comparisons there. I felt like as if there was always, with Ted Bundy as this sociopathic killer in the 1970s. He done hideous things during the 1970s. He was a serial killer. He was a rapist as well. He wasn't a good human being, let's put it that way. And with that TV series, what they delve into the idea of nature versus nurture. And I highly recommend you watch the series, because it talks about the problems of Ted Bundy's nature, what was actually wrong with him, because his bloodline is actually, this isn't giving too much away, but his bloodline is actually, there's incest in there, and he then learns about where he comes from, and I think that psychologically messed him up. And there is nothing that touches upon that in the film, you know. And with Ted Bundy's nature and the way that he was brought up, I feel as if him as a character, he was mistreated, in the sense that he was given too much free will. Because if you go and you watch the TV series, I'll put the name of it in the description so you guys can go watch it. You know, his mum and his dad always allowed him to be outside playing with his friends and to do basically whatever he wanted. And with that too much of the free will, his life kind of took on this own essence of itself. He just then believed that that's how life is meant to be lived. It's meant to be, you're meant to be free. You're meant to do whatever you want. And he was just left to go rogue with no sense of discipline from his parents, in my opinion. There was no discipline. And you'll see that in the TV series. And, you know, and that's the whole reason as to why when he was doing these crazy killings and killing people, he would then go into the forest and put the bodies out somewhere where no one could find them, because it plays into his upbringing. And my point is that what I'm trying to get across to you guys is that there's a difference between showing something, and then there's a difference between me telling you in third person. If you see a character actually go through something, if they go through something where they're mistreated, or they go through something where they admire something other than themselves, then it hits home more, as to opposed to these news anchor scenes of saying this person went missing, this person went missing, just to get to the plot of the story, just to say that he is a serial killer, you know. And I think they should have. I personally feel as if with this film Joe Berlinger should have made this his project. I don't understand why he was in such of a rush to get this film out, because the work that he had done in the TV series was phenomenal. He didn't need to rush. He didn't need to make a 2-hour film. He should have told the story that he wanted to tell, and you know, make it a 2.5-hour film. Just do it. Don't care. There's too many filmmakers out here where they believe that I need to make the audience happy, but at the same time, you will never be able to make the audience happy. You know, just do right by the story. And for me, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Vile and Evil does not do that. Don't do nothing of justice to the story whatsoever. And you know, this needed more stories to be. It needed Ted Bundy's story to be told in first person, for the audience to go on the journey with him, and that's what needed to happen. But what they then do is that in the TV series, they build him up as this monster, and then when you get to watching the film, it's like you want to feel empathy for him. You want to resonate with him. And I understand, because a lot of people saw him as this figure, this higher figure, where, you know, he was charismatic, he was good looking, all the women liked him, he was clever, you know, all that stuff. I understand that, but ultimately, at the end of the day, he's still a vile human being for all the treacherous acts that he did, you know. And the film still convinces you, even near the end, that he's still a good person, that he's being set up. I just didn't understand that direction, in my opinion, you know. Because I think it was good during the first and the second act, but I think by, I'd say, the 80th minute in this film, they should have just said, okay, we're done with this whole thing of putting you in a mind, is he bad? Is it a conspiracy theory to put him in jail because he's too clever? Or they should have then said, no, yeah, he might be good looking, he might show empathy to his family, he might do this, he might do that, but he's a vile human being, you know. And I think as well with Ted Bundy and the way that he was brought up, it then links to why he was showing empathy to Liz and ultimately the family that he cared about most, because Ted Bundy never really knew his parents all too well. He didn't know them. And you could see that when he had then met Liz and then met the family with the daughter, that was his way of filling the void for him. But what I'm trying to say is that if they had explained that in the film of his upbringing in the first act, of us seeing what he's going through in first person instead of third person, instead of news anchors talking and characters talking about themselves, maybe the message would have really hit home with the audience. And this film just failed to do that. But with that being said, I do think performances were good. I think standout of this film is Lily Collins. And you know what? I don't believe that Zac Efron done a good job. I think he came into his own near the end of the film. But I'll be truthfully honest with you, if you've seen the documentary, if you've seen the interviews with Ted Bundy, I do not think he embodied Ted Bundy whatsoever. I mean, there's one scene when he's in the prison, he takes his top off, and the guy's got six-pack abs, and he's got muscles coming out of his neck, and it just took me out of the film. That I looked at him. Okay, he might have some mannerisms like Ted Bundy, but he didn't. I don't think he really embodied him whatsoever. You know, if you'd seen the documentary or you had seen interviews with him in the past, he was a skinny dude. He was skinny. He could turn sideways and he could disappear. I'm talking, he was that skinny, you know. And he didn't have abs whatsoever. He was, if anything, he was skinny fat. He was skinny fat. And there is a moment in this film where it's going into the second act, he takes his top off and you see his six. I'm thinking, no, that's not Ted Bundy. I'm just thinking to myself, as an actor, you can lose the abs for, I don't know, 3 to 4 months and you can get it all back. Go full method acting. And I just feel like as if Zac Efron was great in parts, but I feel as if he kind of left the audience stranded a bit with his physical appearance. And, you know, I think he could have done better. I really do believe that. And I might get hate for this, I might not, but hey, that's my opinion. For me, it's a 6 out of 10. It could be better, and I will say this: the TV series that Joe Berlinger done originally, I would give that the Conversation with a Killer, the Ted Bundy tapes. I would give that a solid 8.5 out of 10. That was brilliant. He should have just stuck with that and not bothered doing the film, because it just fell flat on his face. But guys, that's it. I hope that you enjoyed this movie review. Please like, comment, subscribe. Bada bing, bada boom. I'll see you